Good morning and welcome back. Wow, it has been a long time. It seems like it anyway with this whole COVID-19 virus pandemic going on. Like, so much has transpired. Like, who would have known just in a blink of an eye our world would be changed? But I am going to do this video as promised. I've been getting a lot of questions. People have been demanding that I come back and talk about this topic, cuckold relationships, right? So before I get started, I am going to take this ginger shot that I got from this natural food store over here in Brooklyn. I've been taking these shots, y'all, like they're candy. They really are good for you, though. And they make them like 1 ounce. I think 1 ounce, 2 ounce, and this is a 1 ounce for only $2. Try not to spill it because they fill it all the way up to the brim. All the way up. But how are you guys doing during this difficult time that we face? And y'all, this is pure ginger, as you can see. I never take it in one gulp. I always take it like 2 or 3 gulps. Woo! But it makes me feel really good inside when I do take it. So, we're going to go ahead and get right into this video. You guys can feel free to comment, chime in. I know most of you guys are at home quarantining, as you should be. I am at home temporarily. This is my temporary home here in Brooklyn. I just moved. For you guys who follow me, you guys know that I just recently relocated from Los Angeles to Brooklyn to Los Angeles to California. From Los Angeles to New York City. So I'm out here in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn right now. This is where I am. I'm enjoying it so far. So yeah, this is just where I am. So you guys feel free to comment, chime in as we go along. But so this video series this is like 3 parts. This is the 3rd part to it. The first one I did, it had to be like close to a year ago. The second one I did, part 2 to this series, was back in December. That's why it seems like it's been like so long ago, you guys. This is back in December, and oh my gosh, like I said, you guys have been watching. So much has transpired since then. I'm going to read you guys some of the comments because I've been getting like a lot of response. And I have been getting a lot of comments in response to the video that I made, and it's just like, wow. So here we go. Y'all, and I made that move like really quickly. It was crazy. I made the move from LA back to New York really smooth. It was a smooth transition. I had already planned to move back to Brooklyn anyway, to New York anyway. But I did not plan to move this soon. So it happened like really, like it was just spontaneous. It was like, wow, like I felt like I did not want to get stuck in California, so I figured like I needed to go ahead and just make that transition while I had a chance and just get it done before they start shutting down these domestic airports. Like I did not want that to happen. So that's why I decided to go ahead and make the move. I was going to make the move anyway in this summer, like in July, but it came sooner than what I expected. So I am here. I am already back in New York City. All right, so let's get into it. So this guy says, I am a sub-black man. I enjoy pleasing and reclaiming a female after she... Oh, by the way, this video is for people who are mature, 18 and over. So if you are under 18, this video is not for you, okay? Exit left right now. Hi, hey you. I don't like when people say hey you. I find it to be very disrespectful. I have a name. Don't refer to me as hate you, okay? This is sidebar, like... I had a roommate when I was back in California, and he was like, hey, you. Don't hey you me. What is that about? Hey, you. How about hey, queen? Hey, you. So, And yeah, like I said, so yeah, this video is for people who are 18 and over. So let's, let's be mature about this discussion here. But I want you guys to be interactive. I want you guys to give your feedback on this. So he says, I'm a sub-black man. I enjoy pleasing and reclaiming a female after she's been with another man, just worshiping her body. And this is the thing. I know some, hi, excuse me. I will wash it.
What's that?
I will wash it.
No, I gotta take it down.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
It's okay. So, I find it interesting because the dynamic between like men and women that are interested in this type of dynamic, this relationship, cuckold relationships, is usually the black man who is the bull, who's the dominant man, and he's brought on into the relationship in a white relationship, right, with a white man and his white female partner. But this man says he is a submissive black man and he enjoys pleasing and reclaiming a female after she's been with another man. So he is basically the cuckold in his relationship. So I find that switch to be quite interesting. I don't think it's that common though. And so this video, I wanted to address why black men get involved in cuckold relationships, because before I was talking about it from, the white man's perspective, to talk about why white men are attracted to that lifestyle. But here I'm going to talk about why black men are attracted to this lifestyle pulled in. And whoo, that ginger, I can feel the tingly and the ginger. It's making me tingle. This next comment I really like. And by the way, I'm reading comments from my second part to this video, Cuckold Men Reloaded. So this is one I made back in December. So in case you guys want to go back and check it out, it is the video titled Cuckold Men Reloaded. You guys can find it on my YouTube channel, Danny's World. Michael Evans says, I love to watch my wife flirting and being pleasured by another man. It has brought us so much closer and very open with each other. When she is with a better endowed man than me, it's like I'm giving her a present. We have never been so close or more in love than we are now. Now, I actually like that. I like that because he's speaking from a selfless perspective. He's speaking in terms of how to please his partner, which you don't see that often. Like, everybody is for themselves. Everybody is trying to get pleased. It's all about me, 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 me. How can I be stimulated? How can my partner make me happy? Very few people speak on how they can please their partner. So I like that he's thinking in terms of satisfying his partner. And he says not only does it satisfy his partner, but I think he's thinking from a more objective perspective. So it goes beyond what his partner desires. It's about the relationship, right? That's the ultimate goal, to improve the quality of the relationship itself. And he's saying that when his partner is happy, hello, I know if y'all heard it before, happy wife, happy life, but when your partner is happy in a relationship, you are happy. The relationship is happy. Right? So sometimes we got to take a backwards approach, right? It's not about, okay, well, what can I do to please me? How can I get my needs met? Maybe getting your needs met is meeting the other person's needs. Like, isn't that interesting how relationships work, right? And you have to be a person that is involved in a relationship and is very wise to understand that dynamic. That in order to make yourself happy, sometimes you have to do things for the other person. So I like that. He says he enjoys the wife flirting and being pleasured by another man. He likes that part. And particularly, he says, when she is with a better endowed man. And so I would not be surprised that this guy here who wrote this comment is Caucasian. Because we know. We know that the brothers be backing down there, right? So I'm just saying though, like, I know some people comment on my previous videos saying, oh, not all black men got big dicks, not all black men. Duh, we know not all black men, but we're talking about numbers. We're talking about general norms, you guys, and that's generally how it is. Black men are typically well endowed. So, you know, he says that he's okay with this woman being pleasured by a more well endowed. He's lesser endowed. William says his goal is to please his partner if he had one. Great. Pleasing your partner is going to keep you happy, is going to keep the relationship healthy. Now, the interesting thing is that a lot of people have been like hitting me up saying, are you interested? I would like to know more. It's like, I think that, yes, they want to know more, and obviously they are attracted to me because I'm talking about this topic that they're interested in. But sometimes I think people get it misconstrued that just because I'm talking about a topic that I am like soliciting myself, and I'm just like, no, I can talk about many different topics. Doesn't mean that I am looking for a person to engage in this kind of lifestyle with. Like, no. So it's funny, like the response sometimes, like people have been contacting me via emails, like, oh, I would love to try this out with you. Sorry. Sorry, I don't mean to bust your bubble or ruin your imagination, but it ain't happening, partner. Like this person says, are you interested in the cuckold lifestyle and having a man who has similar interests? Honestly, I think I answered this in my very, very, very first video on cuckold that I made. Like, it has to have been like a year ago. Now, I think I did address that as far as my interest in it. And I talked about how I was dating a guy, my ex-partner. He is Jamaican, and he served in the military. And he had told me how he had received all these propositions from white men in the military wanting him to sleep with their wives. And not only just wanting, but willing to pay. So that's how I was initially first introduced to this whole idea of cuckold thing, right? And I was like, thrown back. I was like, dang, really? I never heard of such thing. And you guys know I am really kind of well versed when it comes to alternative lifestyles, especially sexual lifestyles, right? I'm into BDSM, but I'm like, interesting. I had never heard of such thing, like or a proposition being made. So I thought that was interesting, and I just thought like, I'll make a video about it. Why not talk about it? But as far as my interest, I don't know. I'm interested in polyandry. For you guys who don't know what polyandry is, maybe I should have gave a kind of background introduction on what cuckold is for you guys who are newcomers to this and don't know. Okay, so cuckold is basically a man who is open to the idea of his wife or female partner having sex with other men. And he gets pleasured by that. You know, it's something about it that turns him on. And I did go more into detail about the psychology of it in my first video. Like, why are men attracted to this kind of lifestyle? Why? Because it seems so abnormal. Why would a man want another man pleasuring his wife, right? I did go into the whole dynamic and possible explanations for how this could come about. But I'm more interested in polyandry, which is basically an alternative lifestyle where you have one woman married to more than one man. Some people think it's about sex. Sex is obviously a part of it, but that's not the main reason why I'm drawn to that kind of relationship dynamic. So maybe I'll make a video on it sometime later. I don't know. What do you guys think? Okay. Someone says it's really not that uncommon. It depends on what community you're in. We're talking about the general population here, okay? We're talking about commonality. We're talking about the general population. You know, most people don't even know what cuckold is. So it depends on, like, if you're hanging around a whole bunch of swingers, then no, it's not that uncommon. But if you are hanging around normal people, quote unquote, then yeah, the people you bring this up and people gonna look at you like, what do you guys think though? I am interested in hearing your perspective on this. Is this something that you will be interested in doing? would you be open to, if your man said, hey, I am open, because a lot of men come to their wives and say, I'm interested in a threesome, right? And that's with another woman. But very few men come to their wives and say, I'm interested in a threesome with another man where the man pleasures you. And I sit there and watch. I love to talk about topics like this. It's just, it does something to me. It's very titillating. I kind of miss LA. Side note. Miss a little bit. I moved here April 1st. Go figure. It's like, let me pick a very genius day to move here. No pun intended. Okay, so cuckolding, this guy says, cuckolding is a natural instinct in less dominant, more beta men. Demelanated males overwhelmingly, he put in quotations, to give their women to more dominant males. Melanated males. I'm curious, is this man black? Because honestly, you guys, and you may be surprised by this, but honestly, I have received an overwhelming response from white men who attest that black men are more dominant. That could be my next topic for my video. Next video topic. Who's more dominant? Black men or white men? But I mean, does that discussion need to be had? But it's interesting. I've had men comment on my videos and say, I'm a white male. And I agree. I can admit that black men are more dominant than white men. I'm just like, So I gotta read this statement again because, I mean, I like to hear truth. When truth is spoken, I just like to hear it. And we know, I made that argument before in my previous video, I think part 2, or was it probably both, that yes, black men are more dominant, not just in the bedroom, but genetically we're dominant. It's just, that's the reason why white men want this, right? They want what they lack. And if it means pleasing their woman and keeping the relationship intact, if they're not giving their woman that satisfaction, if they're not providing the level of dominance in the bedroom that their woman so desires, you gotta seek it from the outside. You know, and it's better to have a conversation about this and be honest about it, and be very candid than to lie and to sneak and go and cheat. That's why people cheat, because they're not being satisfied to the extent that they want to be in their relationship. But I think it's a beautiful thing when mature people can have a sit down. Let's sit down at the table and have an honest discussion about what it is we like. What do we want? Not to sit up here, like, because this is a thing with like technology nowadays and people on their iPhones, cell phones, and they're so distracted. It blocks our normal pathway of communication. We're not able to sit down and have a one-way conversation or two-way conversation back and forth between two people. We're not able to do that, you know. So people just sit there and it's like they'll go and talk to somebody else about on the outside about what it is they want. Girls go talk to their girls like, oh, he's not pleasing me. I'm dissatisfied. But you're talking to the wrong person. Talk to the person who matters. The person right in front of you, your partner. Why are you talking to a third party? We call that triangulation in therapy. Why go outside of the relationship when you're supposed to go within and speak to your partner about what it is you want in language that is healthy, that is not demeaning, that is not offensive, you know, very respectful language. We got to learn how to communicate. I like your style, says Larry. So fine with class. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning to you guys, by the way. But I think that's important. Like, if you're in a relationship with somebody and it's like they spend most of the time on the phone, they talking to other people about your relationship, that people who have nothing to do with the relationship. Keep it within. Why are they going on the outside? That to me is very annoying. Okay, so back to this comment. From the female perspective, it's highly beneficial because she gets the resources of a beta male, while also the dominant genetics and other virtues of a more dominant alpha male. And for you guys, rewind, because I remember I made a video about my interest in polyandry, and people swore up and down that dominant men would not be up for that lifestyle. But times are changing, you guys. People are open to a plethora of things that maybe you're not open to because you're closed-minded. But I mean, we don't live in a closed-minded society. That's why I like living in places like New York City and LA, because it's just different. It's different than your traditional way of life. And people are open to a lot of different things. You meet all kinds of people who have many different interests, and that's what I like, because I'm not a closed-minded person. So I do believe that, yes, there can be a situation where you have a dominant man and a beta male, so to speak, with a woman like myself, and it can be a real, genuine relationship, and we can live happily ever after. Somebody says, honestly, how many do you know? Meaning that it's not that common. Okay, this person, sometimes I have difficulty reading people's comments because they don't use punctuation, so I have to insert the punctuation while I'm reading it. So this person says, I love your videos and I wish I could tell you my story that changed me. I've been cuckold. It did mess me up mentally, but it did make me who I am as a transgender male. So, because sometimes people use the terminology all wrong. But this person is saying that he's a transgender male, meaning born female and now a male. And a cuckold at the same time. But I couldn't help myself. My black roommate, I see him, all these different women. They cuckold me all the time. I think it turned him on. Okay, I gotta just stop reading because it's not correct grammar. It's making me dizzy. Making me very dizzy. People be so emotional. Somebody says, not true! Exclamation mark 3 times. It's a very popular lifestyle. Sorry that you don't seem to understand it. Go Google it. I don't have to Google anything. I come to you guys so we can have an interactive discussion. Doesn't sound like you know much about the lifestyle because that's the only contribution you made to this topic. I agree. A cuckold is in touch with what the female wants. See? It's something about being able to please a woman. That's a whole nother level of ecstasy right there. A whole nother level of ecstasy when a man is wise enough to know how to please a woman. Talking about, my mind, y'all, I have to take a pause. My mind is, going many different directions. I'm thinking about bondage. Like a woman being in chains. And on one perspective, one may say that it seems as though the woman is doing this to please a man. And yes, it's a beautiful thing if both people can get pleased at the same time, right? But I'm thinking a woman being pleased and being in bondage, that to me is such a huge, major turn on. Bondage. Oh my gosh. Because it's his attention is all directed towards her. It takes a lot of effort and attention when a man is able to tie a woman up, first of all, and know the right spots to touch her in such a way that stimulates her. That's a whole nother video topic, y'all. I gotta take a sip on that one. How are y'all quarantining, by the way? I'm staying inside. I only go out to get my ginger shots, to get some food. Thank God. I live in a really good neighborhood over here in Bed-Stuy where There's a lot of natural food stores within close proximity, so I don't have to go far, just a couple blocks, and they have all of the stuff that I need right there in the store, you know. Trying to stay healthy, fighting this crazy COVID-19. I've been watching Netflix. I don't watch TV. Before I moved back to New York, even before I left New York in 2016 to move to LA, I didn't even watch TV at all. But now I'm in a place that has TV and they have Netflix, and it's just like, okay, what do? You know, I'm a social media kind of person, so I'm on social media. I like to watch YouTube videos, but I've been finding myself watching Netflix videos or movies. I'm just like, not bad. They don't have that many, they don't have bad movies on there. Being in touch with what the female wants, just knowing the right spots. And I just gotta read these, I'm gonna read these comments, and then I am going to address why black men in particular agree to be bulls, because I don't think I've touched on that, and that's the topic of this video. But I had to give you guys the backdrop for this topic. Somebody said, "What is wrong with you? I want to dominate you sexually. You're basically a little girl in the mind. We need to talk. Dude, you don't know me. You want a man to be your father." It's like he's speaking half-truths, right? So part of what he's saying is true, part of what he's saying is not true. Basically, a little girl in the mind. No, I'm a full-blown woman here. But I do have girl tendencies. I'm a full-blown woman with girl tendencies. And I like to play those girl tendencies out in a relationship with a man who understands it. Because some people just don't get it. And I'm the kind of person, like, I'm of the persuasion, what's understood don't need to be explained. If you understand, I would rather not explain. I would rather not. I would rather go into a relationship with a man who gets it. Not that we have to agree on everything, but we can work some things out, right? And we can put it on the table and discuss, okay, this is what I'm interested in. This is what he's interested in. We come to a middle ground. We develop a contract. Boom, there we go. We going full-fledged with it, you know. And it just flows naturally. It's nothing like being with someone who gets you. Who's just like, I see you. But yes, I do like to be dominated, and not just in the bedroom. I think that's the confusion there, and that's the turnoff for me. Being a single woman, 36 years old, a lot of men get it misconstrued because when I say that I'm interested in being dominated and I'm a submissive woman, their minds just automatically go to sex, and I'm like, dude, you got it all twisted. That is not what it is here. That's a turnoff. If your mind automatically goes to sex, then you miss me. Because to dominate me, you got to get up in my mind. You got to get up in this thing right here, you know. And it's not just in my brain, but my mind is throughout my whole entire body. And if you can't touch my body without physically touching my body, then you won't physically touch my body. All right. Do I want a man to be my father? Depends on what kind of father. Depends. You gotta make a whole video of BBC. As a black woman, you should be a good source of information on there. How, as a black woman, I'm a good source of information on BBC? Now, BBC, I think he means big black cock. What makes you think I am a good source of information on that? Would be very beneficial for white men and women. Anyways, people in their comments, I'll just let people comment and say whatever they want to say. So, on to why I think black men are attracted to this lifestyle and choose to be a bull is because they got what it takes. It's a perfect match. Knowing who you are, being comfortable in your sexuality is of utmost importance, because I think a lot of people, they shortchange themselves and they are sad. They are not living up to their full potential in relationships because they are not comfortable in their own sexuality, whatever that may look like. Like for me, I gave you guys a little bit of self-disclosure about what kind of person I am. and what I like. I'm a submissive. I like dominant men. Knowing that little bit of information and being comfortable in that makes a world of difference when it comes to selecting your mate and being with someone. Don't try to fake it. Don't try to fit within the typical norms of our society, because society says, okay, a man should be with a woman and that's how it should be, and they should have a vanilla relationship and only engage in this kind of sex. No. You're not doing anything illegal, so you should be able to set the terms and rules for how your relationship should play out inside the bedroom and outside the bedroom. That's where maturity comes in. And as for me, I know what I want. And I think, like I said, I think people shortchange themselves. So black men who know what they bring to the table, know that they're packing down there, know that they're dominant men, know that they have something, what it takes that someone else wants, right? It's like a perfect, if you have what someone else wants, they have what you want. Like these black men who are bulls, it's like it's a match made in heaven to be able to sleep with multiple women, as long as, of course, like it's to say, don't get me wrong, you guys, safety first. This is all within the context of safety, so I feel like that doesn't really need to be said because it's kind of already understood, but maybe it does need to be said because some people probably may misinterpret what I'm saying to mean that, oh, just go out there and just do whatever. No, of course, you're going to do it within the confines of safety, right? That should be already a given. So, but with that, I think that, yes, what black man would not, I mean, let's be honest, like, it's already been said that men are polygamous creatures, meaning they are not wired to just be with one woman. They are wired to be with multiple women at the same time in terms of relationship, not necessarily like having an orgy, right? But like relationship, just having relationships with multiple women at the same time, and also that would involve having sex. And so wouldn't it make sense if you know yourself, goes back to knowing who you are, if you know that you are polygamous by nature, then it just makes perfect sense that you would allow yourself to engage in relationships that make it possible for you to be able to express that in a very comfortable way. Like, don't restrict yourself. I feel like that's where a lot of depression sets in. Like, people are depressed and unhappy for reasons that ain't got nothing to do with money or whatever. It's about because you are putting yourself in this mental prison because society has said that sex or relationship should look one way, right? Or even religion often says that. Religion puts this stronghold on people and says, you can do this and you shouldn't do that. And I'm not here to bash anyone's religion, but I'm just saying, I'm all about freedom. Be yourself. Like, we are creatures that are designed to dominate this world, to have dominion over this world. We create our own realities. And go ahead and explore. Like, be yourself. That's really what the teenage years is for, you know. But a lot of y'all didn't get a chance to explore your identity and to explore your sexuality like that when you were a teenager. And so now, you know, you're like, who am I? I'm not satisfied. I've been married for 10 years and I'm not even happy. Especially men and women who are in heterosexual relationships and they're like, I'm not happy. Well, you're not happy because maybe you're not even heterosexual. Maybe you're homosexual, but you're trying to fit in this paradigm that doesn't match with who you are. You gotta explore yourself, and I gotta do a small little plug. That's what therapy is for, you know. Like, as a woman who's training to become a psychologist, like, I have to be a strong advocate for people utilizing therapy services. Like, I know we live in some crazy times right now, and it may be difficult to find it's difficult in normal conditions to find a therapist. So I can imagine in these conditions that we live in now with everything shut down, it's probably even more difficult to find a therapist. But there are so many therapists out there. They exist, and sometimes word of mouth is better. So if you know someone who already has a therapist, it's better to go that route maybe first, and they can provide a recommendation. There are organizations. I've heard of this thing called Therapy for Black Girls, which I think is great. It's an organization, it's a website. They have a plethora of resources for people seeking Black therapists. So I say this because it's important that you are able to explore your identity and who you are. And a therapist will help you do that. A well-trained, well-versed therapist can help you, can provide a space for you to do that. To explore your needs and your wants, and you can understand. There's nothing more rewarding and refreshing and then knowing who you are. I'm 36. You don't want to get to your 30s, let alone your 40s or 50s, and you don't even know who you are. You still I feel a lot of people are there. It's unfortunate, but you should be thriving. That's a time when you're supposed to be blooming and thriving, and where you are at in life. But I guess people experience it at different stages, so I'm not here to knock that. But I'm just saying, if you can do it earlier, hey. So those Black men who are comfortable enough in their own identity and their sexuality to say that I know I'm well endowed, and I know that there are white men there are white men who have beautiful wives who would love to experience what I have, and the whole idea about being watched, right? Some people are like exhibitionists. They like to be watched by other people. That is a way for that kind of person to get their wants met, right? It's a match made in heaven. There's no need in sitting behind a computer screen, living vicariously through someone else, watching porn videos of people who are, number one, getting paid to do what they do, but they're living out their fantasies, but you're vicariously experiencing your fantasy through someone else. Okay, you can do that, but wouldn't it be better to actually live it? Wouldn't it be better to actually do this thing that you see on this screen, So I just think that people should just be able to do that. And I am a proponent of just letting people if that's what you want to do it. It makes, I think, Black men feel more dominant. I mean, if a person is dominant, right? They're inherently dominant. Dominance vibrates through their DNA. Through their ancestral lineage. It's all up in their DNA, right? They are born this way. Then that person's DNA is going to direct them to do certain activities. And those activities would involve being able to explore yourself, being able to utilize whatever resources are at your disposal, if you so may, if it makes you feel good, Of course, with discretion. Like I said, we're not talking about just going out there and fucking whatever you want to do. But we're saying take the limits off yourself to give yourself permission to do those things, to give yourself permission to just be, to be dominant. To fuck another man's wife if that's what pleasures you. To do that. If that's what solidifies your dominance, to do that. And while that man sits there and watches you please his wife better than he can do, And this is an agreement. This is not like a Black man coming in, sneaking in with a woman, a wife of a man, and having sex with her behind the husband's back. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a mutual agreement. These are things that is happening. Right now, there's many cuckold relationships happening right now, especially during this quarantine. Right now, where a Black man, a Black bull, is fucking a white man's wife right now as we sit up here and do this video. Right now. It's happening. Just think about that. It is happening. And that white man is sitting probably in his recliner chair, maybe with a cigar in his mouth, maybe a little bit of weed or something like that, or a beer, glass of wine, whatever suits his fancy, and is just sitting there watching a black man do what he can't do, especially to the extent that a black man is able to do it, you know. It's like, yeah, a white man can, you know, pleasure his wife, but if he's not strong down there, if he's not well endowed, you know, like, if he ain't knocking it out, knocking the, you know, he don't make her scream, he don't make her body tremble like that. Yeah, she may moan, a little bit, but he ain't hitting it, you know. He don't make her legs shake. He don't send her to a whole nother dimension. The white man we're talking about, the husband, doesn't do this for his wife. Then that's where the black man comes in, and he does it for him. And if, like we talked about at the beginning of this video, that love is about making sure your partner is happy. If that's what makes her happy, and this white man is sitting back in his recliner chair, sipping his wine, his Pinot Grigio. I like Pinot Grigio. Sipping his Pinot Grigio, whatever way he likes, right? And he's sitting there and watching his wife get pleasured. That's gonna bring them closer together. I like this comment, what Michael said. I have to read it again because I think it's so powerful, you guys. Listen to these words. He says, I love to watch my wife flirting and being pleasured by another man. It has brought us much closer and very open with each other. That is so powerful. That's love right there. When she is with a better endowed man than me, it's like I'm giving her a present. It's like I'm giving her a gift. We talk about giving Christmas gifts, giving birthday gifts. You don't gotta wait till a person's birthday or Christmas to give them a gift. You can give that person a gift every single day. And the essence of giving a gift, you gotta know the person. Because you got some people that will go out and buy gifts and spend a lot of money on gifts. But it's not even what the person wants. So you just wasted $2,000 on a gift that the person can't even benefit from. They're not even pleased with. You ain't got to do all of that. Spending all that money on gifts. When you know your partner, sometimes the gift that you give them is priceless. And that's what Michael Evans is talking about. He says, we have never been so close or more in love than we are now. She loves her husband for doing that, for giving her that gift of pleasure, allowing her to be satisfied. That's just like a man. If a woman likes massages, I like massages, right? But not everybody can give good massages. Not everyone has the right hands, the softness of their hands, and able to maneuver their fingers appropriately on the muscles to please a person, right? And giving them a massage. So you got men that go and they buy massages for their partner. What's wrong with that? It's the same thing. Giving your partner something that you are not able to provide. That's selflessness. That is love there. Some people are so selfish that they don't even think about that. They're like, oh, well, I can't give it to her, so she just can't have it. Even though she wants it, she may even need it, right? I think we can make the argument that women need pleasure. We need to be happy. And whatever factors into that happiness, whether it's sexual pleasure, psychological, mental stimulation, whatever it is, that's what a person needs. And when a man is selfless enough to be able to meet that need of his partner, that man can be considered a king. That's a real G. He's smart enough to know that. Some people just haven't gotten to that point yet. They're not mature enough. We're talking about developmental stages, right? And human development. And we know at a certain age, before a certain age, children just do not have the mental capacity to think outside of themselves, to think about what another person may be thinking or feeling. They don't have that agency to be able to do that. But when you reach a certain age, your brain has developed to a certain point where now you're able to do those functions. You're now able to carry out those functions of being able to think outside of your own needs. To think that, okay, yes, I may be hungry, but mom is busy right now cleaning. Or mom is talking to someone on the phone. So I can wait. I can wait to be fed, right? Get to a certain point. That's thinking outside of yourself. Same thing as it applies to a relationship. Some people have not matured to that point. They're stagnated. They're not matured to the point to be able to think outside of themselves and how serving another person can mean serving yourself. It's going to come right back to you. But some people, we just don't. It's just like the same thing we're going through now with this COVID-19. Some people just are not, we don't want to call them dumb, right? But they're just not. They don't have the capacity to be able to understand the concept of covering your mouth when you cough, of wearing a face mask when you're out in public, or doing whatever necessary measures, because I'm not here to advocate for face masks or anything like that, but whatever it takes to protect not only yourself and other people. And when it comes to shopping for necessities like toilet paper, who would ever know that toilet paper would be such a necessity? But when it comes to shopping for things like that and food and cleaning products, Lysol, that it's not just important that you get your supplies, but you leave enough for other people so that they can clean, make sure that they're safe and clean, so that they don't infect you. But people don't have the capacity to think outside of themselves. So what's happening? The virus is multiplying at astronomical rates. Like, that's a whole nother topic. I don't want to make this about COVID-19, but we get the picture. That in relationships, it's the same way. When we can think outside of ourselves to serve the other person, it comes back to us. And that's how you see people who have been involved with people for long periods of time. They've been in very long-lasting relationships because they get it. And people say, oh, what's the secret to your marriage? You've been married for 30, 40, 50 years. What's the secret? People ask like people who've been married that long, like, what's the secret? And everyone has their own secrets, right? But I think that's a really important part, because here we go. We have the evidence right here. This man is saying that it's brought them closer together. You have to find out what works for you in your relationship. So that's that. That's the video. Feel free to comment, you guys, if you have questions, if you have concerns, because I know that this video doesn't sit well with a lot of people. They're like, what? But it's something different. So of course, if something doesn't align with your way of thinking, you're gonna think that, oh, it's weird, it's crazy, it's not true, you're lying, just because it doesn't sit with your cognitive schema, with your way of thinking. That's why you have to think outside of the box, guys. Just because someone is speaking on something that is diametrically opposed to the way you see things and the way you think, doesn't mean that they're wrong. It's just a different perspective. So I'm interested in hearing your perspective on this topic. Feel free to comment, share this video, And I'll catch you guys in the next one. And shout out to all the black men who are courageous enough to be those bulls, those strong bulls that they are. Let us know if you have personal experience in this lifestyle. We will be interested in hearing from you guys. Catch you guys later.